Hello and welcome to RMIT Screen Network's Q&A series. Today we're talking to RMIT screenwriting alumni Katherine Allan, who recently allowed us to host a staged reading of her feature film script, Dress Ups. Welcome, Katherine, to the RMIT Screen Network Q&A series for 2015. Thank you so much for putting your script in. Tell us the story of what Dress Ups is about.
So Dress Ups is a coming-of-age film set on the Gold Coast. It takes place in a fictional theme park which has a certain Disney-esque vibe to it. And the protagonist is a girl named Roxy. She's a 30-something-year-old party girl. She plays Snow White in the park, and like any princess, she never wants to grow up. And so the story is about her sort of finding her feet as a woman in the world, and about her relationship with her best friend and her best friend's daughter. And so it's really a story about the roles that women play in society, and how we're sort of taught that you can have this or you can have this, not you can have this and you can have this, and about her struggle to figure that out, really.
So I put you in the wind. What's going on?
Yeah.
Feel free to move it at any stage.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's just sad.
So tell me, what's the journey of Roxy? What happens to her at the beginning and the middle, and then what ultimately happens to her at the end?
Well, we meet Roxy and her best friend Marcy when they're in their early 20s, and they're working at the theme park, and they're loving life, and they just be princesses all day and go out and party all night, and they're really happy and see no reason to ever do anything else with their lives. But then Marcy falls pregnant and has a baby, and she goes off and deals with that and matures into life as a mother, and Roxy kind of stays behind in the park. And so when we cut forward to her 10 years later, 9-ish years later, she's sort of still living the same life, going to the same nightclubs and doing this whole thing. But Snow White inevitably is forever young, and Roxy, as a real life human woman, has to grow up, and she can't play Snow White forever, and so when she's replaced by a younger version of herself, she's sort of forced to get out there in the real world and figure herself out, not as a princess but as Roxy. And so towards the end, I think that we see her not let go of her youth, but she's much more capable of standing on her own 2 feet. She's much more independent. She's got a lot more confidence, and she's a happier person, I think.
Yeah.
I hope.
How long have you been working on your script, and where has the inspiration for the story come about?
I've been working on it for about 2 years, pretty consistently. And the inspiration, it was a short story that I wrote about the Disney princesses going nightclubbing in Surfers Paradise, which I just thought was a funny concept. And I thought that could be a film. I'd go and see that film. I think that's sort of where an idea has to start. You have to think, would I want to go and see this? Because you're not going to pour all of your energy into something that doesn't interest you. So that's where it started. And as I got more into the story and it fleshed out and it became more apparent what it was about, I realised that it really was just a story about what it's like to be female in this day and age. And I think that women are fascinating, and I think that we need to see and hear more stories about them. And so that's really what I wanted it to be about more than anything. And also just really making fun of the Disney princess idea and how ridiculous it is and how unattainable it is, and really just telling a real story about a real woman.
What are you going to do if you get sued by Disney?
Cry. Probably throw myself off the West Gate. I won't do that. You know, what I always used to come back to was in the movie Coming to America, McDowell's, how, you know, they have the Big Mac, we have the Big Mick. And I always rested on that. That was always my answer to that question. I was like, well, Coming to America never got sued. And then Eddie Murphy did an interview where he said we really wanted to make a Coming to America sequel, but we couldn't because McDonald's sued us for Coming to America 1.
So you can't make a
So
sequel of this.
I was like, shit. Yeah, so basically I just have to make this one really, really good because there probably is never going to be a dress-ups 2 this time. It's personal. I don't think that's in the foreseeable future, unfortunately.
So let's talk about the process. The Friday night of the actual reading, how was that for you, and have you recovered?
No, I don't think I'll ever recover. I actually went into it feeling pretty calm, pretty confident. I felt like the script was in as good of a place as I could get it to at that point in time. I wasn't sort of sitting there at the last minute thinking, oh, I should have written this scene this way and had this person say this, what did I do? I knew it still had work to do, but I felt like it was ready for me to say, guys, this is what I have. What do you think? So the reading part of it was actually okay for me. It was the Q&A that broke me into 1,000 million tiny trembling pieces. That was confronting, and that took a couple of days of deep breathing and eating chocolate and getting over it. But yeah, it was a really, really good experience, and I'd recommend it to anybody who feels like they've got a script that they really believe in, that they really want to make better, and that they want to gauge how people react to it.
Was it really that scary, the Q&A? Like, tell us what's, like, when it first... So we had the reading, and then we had a small break, and then you came up and faced the gun squad, firing squad.
The guns were probably the scariest part.
They're well-meaning guns, but they still hurt.
I mean, they were just the ones that sort of you shoot it and bang comes up on a flag, but it was still hurts.
Still hurts, yeah.
Still hurts.
And how was the Wednesday night for you, where we did the read-through before the audience came in on the Friday? How nerve-wracking was that, hearing professional actors read your words out loud for the first time?
That read-through was probably scarier than the final one, because I didn't know the actors, and it was really tiny space, and when no one laughed, because it's predominantly a comedy, so when no one laughed, you could really hear it. But I think that is really, really important. I felt so much more confident going in, and the actors were really generous. They were really keen. They really wanted to do the script justice. They seemed to really connect with the script as well. A couple of the girls came up to me afterwards and said, thank you for writing a story about female characters with really strong female characters at its core. And yeah, whatever it isn't perfect, but that's what they thought of it. I mean, that was just the biggest compliment that I could have gotten. So I think that Wednesday was part of the reason why I was so calm going into it, because I realised that the people involved in the process really just wanted to support me and wanted me to get the most out of it that I could, and no one was looking to put me down or put my work down. That wasn't anybody's purpose. So that was the best part of the Wednesday read, I think.
Not all actors are horrible.
No, not these ones. Not all of them.
So what changes have you made to the script since having the reading?
Yeah, so I think it was really, really easy to pick up on the night the scenes that were too long. So I reckon I could probably take 2-3 lines of dialogue out of every scene. So that's great, because the script does need to be shortened quite a bit. The second act is where most people seem to have the most to say about. That wasn't a sentence. The second act, that's probably what's going to change the most. The first act is kind of just about shortening it. So I think I sort of came out of it with a really clear idea of this is what I need to do, and now I really only think I need maybe one more draft to write, and it's ready for the world.
Yeah, so I guess that leads on to the next question. What did this process give you as a screenwriter?
I really, you were so careful in telling me every step of the way that you were cutting down the big print, and I wasn't to take it personally because it was purely a technical thing. But I think I really liked that because I tend to get a bit prosy with my big print. You forget that a script is a technical document just as much as it is an artistic one, and so I think that was a really good thing that came out of it for me is really seeing how minimal the big print needs to be, and it will still work. But ultimately it was really just, I really enjoyed hearing an actress interpret Roxy. That was sort of the first indication that I had as to whether her character was coming through, and she did such a great job, and I was really just so happy with her. So that was one of the best things that came out of it, to see the jokes that were working, and it was the ones I didn't expect to work, so that was weird. Good weird, also bad weird, mostly weird. But yeah, just that people cared enough to come out on a Friday night in the middle of winter and sit there and listen to a story that I'd written, and then cared enough to say this is what I thought about it. Really passionately as well. Like, everyone seemed to really want to let me know what they thought. No one kind of did it because they felt, oh, I should probably say something. It was a lot of enthusiasm. So yeah, it's nice because this is a collaboration. Really, that's the draw card of being a screenwriter for me, is that you go on to work with people. You write something and then you bring all these other people in and you make something together. So it felt like that's what we did on Friday, and so that was awesome. That was so much fun.
Oh, great. And finally, so what's the plans for the script here on in? What are your aims for dress-ups?
I'd really like to get it made. I'd really like to get it made here in Australia. I think that the first thing that I need to do is to find a producer to come on board, someone who really connects with the story, someone that can be on the same page as me, and whether we go the funding route, whether we go the Kickstarter route, I don't really know yet, but I think I really want to assemble a small team. You know, we'll be like the Avengers of screenwriting, and go out there and really just try to get this thing up. It's an odd script. It's not conventional by design, but I think it's very relatable. I think Roxy's an incredibly relatable character. I don't say that to be a wanker. I say that because I think, like I said before, we just need more female stories out there. So I'd really just like to see it get made here, and hopefully people will like it, and then I can go to America and be friends with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, which is the reason that I do anything in my life, you know, screenwriting or otherwise. So that's the dream, I think.
Not Amy Schumer?
Oh yeah, she can come along as well. Yeah,
great.
Yeah,
Cool.
if she wants, you know, if she's available.
She's pretty busy these days.
She is, yeah, but you know, I'm busy too, Amy. So it goes both ways. She's, you know, she's not the only person. Amy Schumer, I love you, and if you ever want to have a coffee with me, I will buy it for you.
All right, thank you so much, Katherine.
Thanks.
It's been a pleasure chatting to you about your story and hearing what the whole process has been like for you. And all the best, and I'm glad that we could have a hand in working on your script. Thanks very much, guys. We'll see you next time.
I'm gonna go brush my hair now. Bye, everyone.
Awesome.